seeing God in you, understanding the nature of God, self, consciousness itself, in you, in others, as one. Seeing consciousness, seeing your deepest self, seeing God. For many, it may sound difficult perhaps, and it may sound that there is something external, that either consciousness, we know it exists, we know it's here, but it is our knowledge, our wish to experience that. And the same for the term self or God. We also know that it is within us. We know that it is everything. However, mostly it is the knowledge and hope that we are relying on. And right there we are overlooking the seeing itself. We are looking over the seeing itself. We are looking into the mind, into energy, into spaces, and constantly overlooking the most fundamental aspect, which is not even an aspect, it is you yourself. So we already know that the nature of reality, we may say, experiential reality, it is objective. It is the environment, the objects, including this body and five senses. And how do we know that? How do we know that this is our environment? How do we know that this is our body? How do we know that these are my emotions? How do we know that these are my thoughts? How do we know that these are not my thoughts? And how do we know that these are not my emotions? And certainly, how do we know that this stuff is not ours and that stuff is ours? How do we know? That is a question. And let's distinguish the difference between knowing and understanding. Because when we look at a flower or a tree, we immediately know. We immediately see the flower and the tree. When you look around, you immediately know that this is the room, the space, the body. And understanding is a different process. Understanding is a process. Knowing is not a process. It is direct and immediate. Understanding is a function of the mind. It is the river. It is the train of thoughts, the analysis, the investigation. Understanding takes time, obviously. Knowing, seeing what is here takes no time. Knowing is immediate. It is direct and obvious. Even when a thought arises, a thought of I, a feeling of I, how, when you say that I feel myself, how do you know that? If you slow down a little bit, and you will say, of course I know that. And how do you know that? Because I'm right here. And another feeling arises in your body, and you say, I am sad. How do you know that? You say, I am angry. I am confused. I worry. Or I am happy. I am at peace. Who knows that? Who is this I? And those who are advanced seekers, they will say, oh, I know where you're going with this. It's called self-inquiry. Who am I? No, just slow down a bit. Yeah, let's not label. Let's not label this directness that it's right here. So all your life experiences you refer to as I am, feeling this and that and this and that. I'm thinking this and that and this and that. That I is not really a problem. It is also known. Whenever you say I, you already see that. Whenever your mind is wandering, you already see that. It's uncomfortable. Whenever you're deep in your thoughts, you already see that. That now you're deeply investigating your thoughts. Whenever you are understanding something, you see that. And even now you can see that you are listening. You see that. And it is that I which is not really an I. It is that seeing. It is that knowing. Not knowledge, not understanding. There is a difference. Knowledge is accumulated. Understanding is a process. knowing that you are experiencing this right now, knowing that you're here, knowing that this is your body. Knowing is immediate and direct. And that knowing, that seeing, is consciousness. It is God. It is the self. And when we start to settle in that directness, obviousness, self-luminosity, this knowing is so obvious and it is so bright. It is like the sun knowing itself. And the sun is not identifying with the objects that it shines upon. And that's where humanity is right now. Identifying with the objects being shined upon. The sun knows itself. And therefore you need to know yourself. Because you are here obviously. And the degree of your knowing of yourself is realization. It's what it's called realization. Realizing your God nature. Yourself. Any name we want to give it. Doesn't matter. The name is not important. It's direct knowing, direct seeing. Also called awareness. Many names, many names. But it's right here. And this is the deepest you, obviously. And you may feel an excitement in you. You may feel that something just happened right now. Something big has happened right now. It is your self recognizing that you are returning directly to your true nature. You're going right into God as God, into consciousness as consciousness. And then you can notice the difficult part, which is understanding or a need to understand. I need to understand it. But slow down on your needs and recognize that you are still seeing your thoughts arising and passing. So this I, as we may say, the conditional I or the ego, It is simply a field of various disharmonies and distortions that for some reason you have preferred, willingly or unwillingly, to focus upon, to identify with, to stay in, to believe in. And you have forgotten your deeper nature, your true nature. Because you see, there's nothing wrong with emotions as such. There's nothing wrong even with thoughts as such. It is that interconnectedness or mixing up yourself with your thoughts. That mixing up, that is the only problem. And you should take it easy on yourself. And of course, you shouldn't push yourself, and you shouldn't negate all existence, that nothing ever exists, that everything is an illusion, or all is Maya. It's just negating what is here. It may help at some time, at some times, at some points, but it's not really about that. These are just various practices of how to unwind your identification, your focus and attention. But first of all, the number one thing is to realize, where is consciousness, God Self? It is not to objectify this consciousness, God Self. It is a lot closer and a lot more intimate to you, because it is you. You are that. Even the feeling of closeness or intimacy is another feeling, because you say, I feel something is so close to me. I feel so intimately connected. It is the same I feel. And it is this knowing that you feel. It is that obvious knowing that I feel, which is you. So even the closeness has a distance. Even the intimacy has a distance, objectivity. All experience is known, seen in you. And it doesn't matter if you're looking at a trash can on a sidewalk, or if you're gazing into the galaxies through the telescope. These are objects. appearing, being looked at in you. So you will understand more and more that you have been too much involved into objectivity, into external objectivity called materialism, into internal objectivity called spirituality. Yes, spirituality is internal objectivity. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, external or internal, because both you see and both you know. Both you are aware. And some of you will say that this is so close, it is too close. I need to understand perhaps a bit more. Or you will say, maybe it's not enough because I need something more substantial. I need something more graspable. I need something to hold onto. I am used to my ideas. I am very comfortable with my current understandings and realizations. I love my current philosophy, my understanding of the world, my understanding of myself. A spiritual objectivity will say, I love my inner peace. I love my balanced energies right now. I love my inner dimensions or outer dimensions. Or on the opposite polarity, you will say, I don't like my thoughts and I feel something is incomplete. I feel something missing. I feel something is not fulfilled. And if we investigate the both polarities of whether I love or I have and I like, or something is missing, something is incomplete, or avoided, in both polarities there is the I feel, I see, I like, I dislike. And that overlooking is very common. Overlooking is very habitual. And you will ask, but why? Because it is your preference. Because it is your value, where you place the value. That's why you prefer objectivity, external or internal, because you value certain feelings, emotions, philosophies, understandings. And in a big sense, it's not a problem either. In a big sense, it is human to, of course, prefer love and peace and happiness than sadness, anger, misery. But you have to go beyond humanness. You have to go beyond the human programming. You have to realize that you are that which sees and knows. This all experience, all of it, inside, outside, moment by moment, second by second, instant by instant, you always know, you always see. You can't escape it. You can only veil it temporarily with your other kinds of preferences. But you can never escape it because you are consciousness. You are God, you are self. But you can pretend to be human. And you can prefer whatever you love. And you can prefer whatever you hate. It is also a preference. It is also a choice. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is who is the one who sees and knows every single experience since you were born, since you were a kid, a child, a teenage, adult, more mature adult. It doesn't matter your age. It hasn't ever changed. What changed is your mind, your personality, your body has changed. That seeing and knowing is beyond change. It is not affected by what happens. It is not touched. So it is not an object. And it is neither, for those more technical, it is neither the subject. It is neither a process. It is not a trinity. Because it always sees even the subject, which is the I am. It always observes the process. It's always aware of the causality, the manifestation, the effect. So the seeing, direct seeing, is beyond time and space. And you should watch your mind that you do not objectify this directness that I am speaking of. That you should not objectify direct seeing. Oh, I want that. You should not objectify and mentalize any of this, because it will become knowledge. It will become secondary. So I only am speaking openly that you can recognize in this instant, and that's it. And you should leave it. And don't keep it. Don't mentalize it. This direct seeing that is here, it is a direct knowing, immediate knowing. You look at anything and you immediately know, but you may not perhaps immediately understand, but you immediately know. You immediately see. And most value understanding. And since there is a value in understanding, one gets lost into understanding. And understanding is limited, of course. So as you look at anything, anywhere, inside, outside, you immediately see, you immediately know. And it is direct knowing, it is pure knowing. And then if you use your mind, you make it into knowledge, understanding. If you use your mind, then you invoke the processes of understanding. And then you convert your understanding into knowledge. And then you make philosophy out of your knowledge. So very slowly you need to reverse the processes that you are seeing right now, that are taking grip upon you. You need to slowly reverse these processes to bring them into the light of your awareness. And to soften them up and to take out the value out of them. To release them and be free. That's what it's meant by transcendence. And it's okay if you have processes, because of course you have processes, and that's fine. Don't fight with yourself. Don't judge them. Don't push yourself. But see them. Recognize them. Bring them into your awareness. Deal with them. Heal them. Transcend them. Be free. And then you will say, oh, I have so much stuff. It's gonna take ages. How long is it gonna take? 5 years? 20 years? 10 lifetimes? If you are here and you already are recognizing the directness, it's not gonna take that long. It is only then, we can say, a matter of time until you will finish the time. And it's a double job that you need to seemingly take right now. One job is to bring all the processes into your awareness and to work on them. But the other process is equally or even more important, to continuously recognize the direct seeing, direct knowing, that it is always, always, ever, always present here. And to further become more familiar with that, to make it your home, because it is the real home. The real home is not the peaceful corner. It is not a comfort zone. It is not what you already know. It is not what you already made peace with. The real home is direct, absolutely alive. Always absolutely present. So the second part of your job is to refamiliarize with who you truly are. What is your real home? Here, now. I would say that is at least 70% important. And 30% is the healing of the processes, discarding the processes. Because if you only do the processes part, you will become what's called a healer. Or you will become a spiritual explorer. Or you become a seeker, a desperate seeker, and so forth and so forth. So healing is only one part, only when it's necessary. It is only when it's necessary that you need to do the difficult part. But otherwise, you should refamiliarize with yourself. And that is consciousness, God, self, that is spoken about.